just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him. But don't underestimate Tank Davis. If Tank is motivated and ready to fight, Tank is a problem for anybody.
Roy Jones Jr. has dropped a bombshell statement that's sending shockwaves through the boxing community, claiming there's only one fighter capable of defeating the seemingly unstoppable Shakur Stevenson, and that man is none other than Gervonta Davis.
With the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis would be that person because of his intent.
Stevenson has been on an absolute tear lately, extending his pristine record to 25 wins without a single defeat after capturing the WBO Super Lightweight Championship at Madison Square Garden. The victory came at the expense of Teofimo Lopez, whom Stevenson dominated in such convincing fashion that he barely broke a sweat throughout the entire contest. This win marked a historic achievement for the Newark native, making him a 4-division world champion at just 28 years old, placing him as the third youngest fighter ever to accomplish this feat, trailing only Oscar De La Hoya and Adrian Broner. The performance against Lopez was nothing short of masterful, with Stevenson showcasing the discipline and technical brilliance that has become his trademark. Jones was particularly impressed by how Stevenson maintained his composure and game plan throughout all 12 rounds, never wavering from his strategy or allowing Lopez to drag him into a brawl. This discipline, according to the former 4-division champion himself, is what currently gives Stevenson the edge over just about anyone in the sport.
Did you think you was really going to beat him up that way?
Yes. I've been told you this. I told you this a minute ago. I said he's not on my level.
Jones elaborated on why he believes Stevenson would enter any fight as the favorite, pointing to the champion's incredible discipline both inside and outside the ring. He noted that Stevenson is the type of fighter who avoids the crazy lifestyle choices that often derail promising careers, instead focusing entirely on his craft and maintaining the mental and physical preparation necessary for sustained excellence. This dedication to discipline sets him apart from many of his contemporaries and is a major reason why he's been able to dominate every opponent put in front of him. However, Jones was quick to caution against underestimating Davis, warning that if anyone could solve the Stevenson puzzle, it would be Tank. The key factor Jones identified is Davis's incredible natural talent and fighting ability, which he believes many people underestimate due to the Baltimore fighter's well-documented issues outside the ring. Jones stressed that when Davis is focused and mentally prepared, he becomes a nightmare matchup for anyone in the sport, possessing skills that go far beyond what casual observers might.
Now, at this point, it might be a fantasy fight with what, Tank has going on outside the ring.
Yep.
But who wins that fight right now, in your opinion?
Right now, Shakur wins it because of his discipline. Because he showed against Teofimo that he can stay very disciplined all night. And he's the type of guy, he don't really do a lot of crazy stuff in his life normally. So it's like discipline is a thing that is not only exercised inside the ring, it's exercised also outside the ring. And as we see, sometimes Gervonta has problems with discipline. But we have never seen Shakur have problems with discipline. We've seen him be more disciplined at the right times than we've seen him not have discipline. So with the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis will be that person because of his intent.
The challenge for Davis, according to Jones, lies in getting his personal life in order and maintaining the same level of discipline that comes naturally to Stevenson. Davis has been plagued by legal troubles throughout his career, with his most recent issues casting serious doubt on his boxing future. He hasn't stepped into the ring since fighting to a majority draw against Lamont Roach back in March, and the legal complications he's facing could potentially sideline him indefinitely. Jones made it clear that if Davis can sort out these external problems and bring the same level of focus and motivation that Stevenson displays, then he would represent a genuine threat to the champion's unbeaten record.
When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank is a problem for anybody. Tank can fight better than most people think he can. It's just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him, but don't underestimate Tank Davis. If Tank is motivated and ready to fight, Tank is a problem for anybody.
While Davis represents one potential opponent for Stevenson, another former champion has suggested an entirely different matchup that could test the pound-for-pound star. Tim Bradley, a two-weight world champion himself, believes that O'Shaquie Foster could provide Stevenson with his most competitive fight. Bradley acknowledged that he's not necessarily saying Foster would beat Stevenson, but he does believe Foster possesses the skills to compete at a similar level. Bradley highlighted Foster's accomplishments and skill set, noting that the southpaw shares many of Stevenson's best attributes, including excellent distance control and a fast jab. He also mentioned that Foster has size, reach, and legitimate power, plus the ability to switch to an orthodox stance when needed. Foster currently holds the WBC Interim Lightweight Championship after defeating Stephen Fulton in December, and he previously reigned as the WBC Super Featherweight World Champion. Bradley even went so far as to suggest that Foster deserves a spot on the pound-for-pound list, though he acknowledged that Foster lacks the name recognition of fighters like Lopez.
Shakur goes down and fight that man right there. Because I'm saying Tank ain't gonna fight him if he goes down to 35. Like, when you a fighter and you fight at a certain level, right, you get a certain amount of money, like, you trying to be like, all right, I'm trying to either meet that and get a little bit more money, or, you know, I'm trying to surpass that. I'm trying to challenge somebody even better than that. You know, that shit was easy. So, Shakur Foster, as far as notoriety, he's not bigger than Tio. But I'm telling y'all, as far as skill, and I believe Shakur should be on a pound-for-pound list. Shakur should be on the pound-for-pound list. Right now, he should be number 10. Shakur, you need to go ahead and slide him up top 5. Shit. Slide him up top 5. For real.
The politics of boxing sanctioning bodies have also created headlines for Stevenson recently. Despite his triumphant performance at super lightweight, the WBC made the decision to strip him of his lightweight world title just days after his victory over Lopez. The organization released a statement explaining that since Stevenson now holds the WBO super lightweight championship, their rules and regulations required them to declare the lightweight belt vacant. Stevenson did not take this news well, firing back on social media with accusations that the WBC's decision was motivated by their ongoing feud with Terrence Crawford, who is Stevenson's close friend, mentor, and training partner. The champion pointed out that he had just paid the sanctioning body $100,000 after his last fight and questioned why he should continue funding what he called a group of crooks. He suggested that the WBC's beef with Crawford was influencing their treatment of him and made it clear he had no respect for the organization's decision.
Shakur Stevenson has been stripped of his 135-pound WBC title. This comes just days after he pulled off a dominating performance against Teofimo Lopez, where he snagged his WBO.
As Stevenson plots his next move, several intriguing options have emerged. One possibility is a showdown with Isaac Cruz, the WBC interim super lightweight champion who is often compared to Mike Tyson due to his aggressive come-forward style. Stevenson addressed this potential matchup directly, acknowledging that Cruz has a significant fan base among casual fans who believe his pressure-fighting approach could give the slick boxer problems. However, Stevenson dismissed this notion entirely, stating that Cruz would be easy work despite his popularity. Cruz defended his interim title in a draw against Lamont Roach Jr. back in December, though he currently sits behind Alberto Puello in the pecking order for a shot at WBC champion Dalton Smith. Still, the Mexican fighter's fan-friendly style and name recognition make him an attractive option for Stevenson if he decides to remain at super lightweight.
I mean, I see Pitbull. Pitbull is a guy that's a name in the sport.
Yeah, I like that.
And honestly, it's a lot of casual fans that love Pitbull.
Yeah.
So most of his fan base is the guys that's like casuals and believe that.
And a lot of Mexicans.
They believe that a guy like Pitbull would be the style to do something with me, but easy work.
Easy work. That's a good fight. I like the Pitbull. All right, what about Ryan Garcia?
Another possibility that has generated considerable buzz is a potential welterweight clash with British contender Benn. After defeating Lopez, Stevenson used his post-fight interview to call out Benn, who is preparing to return to the welterweight division after nearly 4 years away. Benn actually got into the ring for a face-off with Stevenson immediately following the fight, creating an electric moment that has fans speculating about whether this matchup could come to fruition.
Boring. Like, honestly, I got to maybe the 5th round, 6th round. It's like, do something. Like, let your hands go. If it was so one-sided, just let your hands go a little bit. Do you know what I mean? My fight just displayed discipline. And that was my goal, was to display discipline for the 12 rounds. People think I couldn't do it. Just do something. All your fights are so boring. And it's the entertainment business. I think people want to skip to the Money May and forget the pretty boy Floyd. You know, where he let his hands go. Dangerous, spiteful. You know, not this boring negative stuff. I wasted 36 minutes of my life watching that game. Listen, it's part of the game. ultimately I'm here in his city, but if he wants it, he can get it. He's calling for it, so no problem. Let's do it in the stadium back home. We'll do that next. That'll be my first fight back at 147. No warm-up.
However, most experts believe Stevenson would be far too much for Benn to handle at this stage of the British fighter's career. Carl Froch weighed in on the potential matchup, stating bluntly that nobody is giving Benn a chance and explaining why that skepticism is warranted. Froch pointed out that Benn is still developing as a fighter and has never competed for an English, British, Commonwealth, European, or world title. While Benn scored a solid victory over Chris Algieri and had 2 massive fights with Chris Eubank Jr., Froch believes he's not ready for elite-level opposition like Stevenson. The former super middleweight champion did suggest that Benn could become a world champion eventually, but only after getting a couple more world-level fights under his belt first. Froch mentioned that he likes Benn's chances against fighters like Ryan Garcia or Mario Barrios, suggesting those would be winnable fights that could prepare him for an eventual title shot.
Nobody's giving Conor Benn a chance at all, and you can see why. Conor Benn is still learning on the job. He's never fought for an English, British, Commonwealth, European title. He's never fought for a world title. He's got a good win against Chris Algieri. He's obviously had them 2 mega fights with Chris Eubank Jr. But he's not ready for them kind of opponents, in my opinion. It just might be. You never know. Conor Benn might get in there and he might shock the world and shock everyone and do really well. I mean, I've come and do a little bit of criticism of Conor Benn himself. I spoke to him the other day. He wasn't very happy. I mean, we get on all right. We had a laugh. But I mentioned the word novice, which I suppose novice is a little bit harsh for Conor, because he's not a novice, but in boxing terms, if you've not won an English, British or even area title, and then you start looking at European and world titles, if you're nowhere near that level where you can say, I've got this title, then you're still a novice pro, you're still learning. He's got no amateur pedigree at all. So in that sense, he's a novice, but he is a very exciting prospect. So he got the ump, and I'm talking about him in the same breath as Shakur Stevenson, which I can't believe, because he's not ready for that yet. There's no criticism. If he goes in there and he gives Stevenson a fight, Stevenson called him in the ring, he got in, and there was exchanging verbal abuse. Stevenson's probably thinking, actually, Conor Benn's a big fighter in England. He brings a crowd, so it'll bring the money. So you'll think, I fancy that. It's a steady fight. Like, Conor Benn thinks he's too big for him, but sometimes size doesn't matter. And for this one, I just think Shakur Stevenson will be far too talented for Conor Benn.
Frank Warren also offered his perspective on a potential Stevenson-Benn matchup, echoing Froch's skepticism about the British fighter's chances. Warren acknowledged that Benn is looking to make big fights and earn significant money, but cautioned against confusing Stevenson with Chris Eubank Jr. He made it clear that Stevenson operates at a completely different level than Eubank, suggesting that Benn's victory over his British rival shouldn't be seen as evidence that he could compete with someone as talented as the American champion.
What did you make of Conor Benn getting in the ring afterwards?
He's looking to make a fight, he's looking to earn some money. But listen, Shakur Stevenson isn't Chris Eubank Jr.
There seems to be a big appeal for Conor at the minute.
Well, there is a big appeal. So you know, if he gets his chance, it's a big fight for him. But do not confuse Shakur with Chris Eubank Jr.
Despite all the potential matchups being discussed, Stevenson has made his own thoughts clear about where he stands in the sport's hierarchy. In interviews following his victory, he declared himself the best fighter on the planet, with only unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk operating at a comparable level. Stevenson specifically cited the art of hitting without getting hit as the criterion by which he measures greatness, and by that standard, he believes only Usyk matches his mastery. With his WBC lightweight title now vacated and multiple options available at both super lightweight and welterweight, Stevenson faces an important decision about his future direction. He could pursue unification fights at super lightweight, move up to challenge for welterweight honors and potentially become a 5-division world champion, or even consider dropping back down to lightweight to pursue the belts available there, though that seems increasingly unlikely given the sanctioning body politics involved.
They put the guys higher. For me personally, to go beat T.O. the way that I did, with T.O. being a 28-year-old fighter in his prime, he just dominated against a guy like Arnold Barboza, made him look like fool. And then I make him look even worse than Arnold Barboza looked against him.
That's true.
For me, I'm up there. Like you say, top 3, that's for me. But like, I always know it's like a list that can be just played with, like, guys could say anybody at this given point, but My numbers are doing great. I done proven I'm one of the best fighters on the planet of Earth. And if we're talking about boxing, because when you look up the art of boxing, it is hit and don't get hit.
Right.
I am #1, to me, the best fighter on the planet. The only other fighter that I see in boxing that right now, that I'm like, okay, he probably can be
on the level.
Usyk.
Yeah.
Usyk. And
Yeah.
that's at the art of hitting and don't get hit at the same time. Boxing.
What remains clear is that Stevenson has established himself as one of boxing's elite talents, with a skill set and discipline that make him a prohibitive favorite against virtually anyone. But according to Roy Jones Jr., there's one man out there who possesses the raw talent and intangibles to potentially end that unbeaten streak, and that's Gervonta Davis, provided he can match Stevenson's focus and dedication when the bell finally rings.